So how can new brokers pass CAS quickly? So CAS stands for Competent Advisor Status, and it's what you need if you want to be a proper mortgage advisor. It means to be able to advise without being supervised, and that's pretty hard actually to get. CAS is one of those things that takes a lot of people a lot of time, and many people struggle at it. And so on average, by the way, it takes about 3 to 9 months to pass CAS, depending on how fast you are and also how much lead volume you have and the situation you're in regards to the employment or self-employed that you're in. So these are the things to understand CAS. But how do you actually pass it as a new mortgage broker? How can you pass it quickly? Well, there's a few ways I'll explain with this. So, and I'll just kind of let's just talk them through. So the first one I'd say is don't get too stressed. When it comes to passing CAS, the majority of advisors get very, very stressed, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves to pass CAS. Now, of course, you want to pass CAS. If you don't pass CAS, you can't do the job. So I'm not trying to freak you out, but at the same time, you need to also be aware that it's okay to take time. And often, what I've experienced, both when I was an advisor myself, getting CAS, I remember this, and I've got CAS at multiple different places because you have to re-get it when you move networks and stuff. But definitely at the beginning is the pressure that you put on yourself to get CAS is insane, because you feel like as soon as that clock starts, I need to get it done straight away, and you don't. And you do have usually up to about a year to get it done. And so don't stress yourself out about it. Don't put yourself under pressure, because the more you stress about it, the more you're going to underperform. You're going to make stupid mistakes. And that is probably one of the biggest things. The other one you have then is use a RFT checklist, which stands for Right First Time Checklist. So Right First Time Checklist, your network and your firm will have one of these. And if they don't, they should. And these are effectively what is needed to submit a case right first time. So it will pass on case check. And every network has a different Right First Time checklist. So you just want to make sure with yours that you've got yours and that you know what they need to package cases. Everything is kind of there. This is really important, and it will say like what the notes are needed, the documents are needed, everything there. And if you go through that list and you actually check off on the list, you will do, that's half the battle. Half the battle, you'll do pretty well on that, because half the battle is just not doing the list and getting the mistakes. So don't get golf or cowboy in it, just kind of shooting from the hip. Absolutely use a Right First Time checklist. Another thing is having a 3-screen setup. So this is a bit of a me one. No one taught me this one. I just kind of figured this one out myself, having done it. 3-screen setup is exactly how it sounds. Most people, when they become a mortgage broker, they get their laptop and off they go. And the problem is doing mortgages, which is very admin and detail focused, on just a laptop screen where you're flicking between tabs. That's a bloody nightmare. It's a nightmare. Whereas actually a 3-screen setup was a game changer for me. And I have 3 screens now. I've got my laptop, I have my ultra wide, and then I have a small teleprompter monitor here that's like a little screen. But there's 3 screens on here. It's technically 4 with my iPad if I wanted to. But the 3-screen setup allows you to have the FMA, which stands for full mortgage application, on one screen. It allows you to have the documents on another, and it allows you to have the fact find on another. And so it means that you can have all 3 things open at once and go income, 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 yes. You know, like date of birth, date of birth, date of birth, yes. So you can cross-reference it very fast without flicking between them, and then that's when the mistakes happen. Now, don't get me wrong, you can do it okay with one laptop, with the laptop on its own, that's fine. But a 3-screen setup, absolutely massive. And there is actually, I mean, I don't know, you can find them. They're little like screen laptop setups that click onto the back of it, that open out. They're really weird, but they open out and they create 2 extra screens. And so they lock onto your laptop, and then they fold out, and they're like these 2 little iPad screens on the sides. They're a couple of £100, and they're like if you want to work on a laptop and you don't want a desktop setup, then a 3-screen setup like that, game changer. 2 minimum, 3 absolutely. I still speak to advisors, I take them on now, and they're still working off a laptop like 10 years later, and you think, how? You know, like it's super inefficient. So 3 screens is massive. And the other one I'd say is listen to feedback. So listening to feedback, like from your supervisor, is important. If they give you the feedback and then you don't make the change, then you're not listening to it. And this is, I think, what people do is remember that CAS is not there to try and catch you out. It's there to try and make you better. It's to make you competent. And so when something is flagged up, it's an opportunity to learn and go, oh, okay, cool, I didn't do that right. I'm going to do it again better this time. The mistake that people make, and it's a big mistake people make, is they think that it's the people catching them out and like trying to tell them off. No, they're not telling you off. And if you have a training or development person that is telling you off, then they're a bad training development person. But a lot of the time, they're trying to help you improve. So listen to the feedback, adjust, take the data in, make the changes, and then don't make that mistake again. Simple. A big red flag for this, by the way, is if people are checking and then giving you the same notes and you've not had enough time to make those changes. That's something I do see happen quite a bit. But, so if they've not given you enough time between them, and they check like one, they're like, well, that's a problem. And then they check another case and it's like, yeah, but I submit them both at the same time. So of course it's going to be the same. That's something to be aware of, but most of the time it's absolutely fine. So these are all of the things that you can do to pass CAS. I do, if you want to check out the new Broker Success Playbook, that is a link in the description for that, and that actually breaks down a lot of this stuff in a bit more detail, a bit more actionable steps, and there's a whole module on there on how to pass CAS quick and the things you can do there. So there's, as well as 4 other modules and bonus material on getting CAS actually from a trainer, from an actual trainer from a network. So go and check that out if that's what you want to do, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.